This is a Yu-Gi-Oh channel first and foremost, but let me please take a moment to pause from that to share something that I love. Something special. Something different. Something that has never been matched by any other media in the way that it made me feel in youth. A project that, to this day, is the root inspiration for why and for how I want to go about my filmmaking and storytelling journey. It's a series, no, it's a legacy that to this day stands tall as my favorite anime media to consume. This is a series with caveats. A series that I have to preface to people. See, as much as I enjoy the 27 episode anime, it's the condensed films of this series that are the true diamonds that you can only find by digging. So, let's dig, baby. "15 years ago, my favorite animation studio dropped onto the cosmos the legendary project, not based on a manga, but rather a all-original anime series that was then turned into the beautiful masterpieces of film known as Gurren Lagann, the movies. It all started on a sleepy Friday evening. I was a sophomore in high school, unconfident in myself, but somehow, thanks to the bonds that I had formed with my classmates turned Card Heroes castmates, turned Yu-Gi-Oh buddies, turned best friends, I was surrounded by two people that I really cared about. Another classmate and castmate of Card Heroes was obsessed with the series Needless, and had bought a DVD that had the characters from that series staring down the Gurren Lagann main cast. I didn't know anything about either series at the time, but my friend who lent me the DVD swore by it, and so it sat in my bedroom for months, untouched, until that fateful night. The actor who plays Z in Card Heroes and a friend of ours who I'll just name Jay were hanging out. The two of them were dueling on my carpeted floor while I was sorting cards on my bed. And with nothing to watch, I said, "Hey, do you guys want to watch this movie that my buddy lent me?" And so, with little fanfare, we put it on. Background noise, we thought. We were wrong. We were so blessed to be so wrong. It was a Japanese dubbed film, meaning that we had to read the subtitles for it. At the time, the only anime that I had ever invested time into that were subbed were the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX Japanese airing, since Season 3 was very special to me, and I thought that it would be worth it to explore. And when Season 4 was going to be not dubbed in English, I really had no other choice, meaning that sub was the only way to watch it. Besides that was Death Note, which I fell in love with because of the tight writing. So for me, watching the sub was well worth it. Lastly was Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, which was such a good sub, and still is, that I was happy to read it. But I'm dyslexic, and I have ADHD. So it's hard for any random series to get me focused long enough to read along, especially one that has a combined runtime between the two films of over 4 hours. But it held my attention. No, it grabbed it. No, from the very moment that the film had started, it had a stranglehold over my attention. The beauty of the set pieces it establishes in the first 3 minutes of screen time was more impactful to my eyes, my heart, my soul than some film's entire final act. You may feel like what I'm showing you on screen is going to spoil something later on in the film. Well, this is the exact first 3 minutes that I'm talking about. A world destroyed, giant robot faces in the sky, mechs eliminating everything on sight, an operatic orchestra of music swelling as a mech turns into the pilot of another larger mech, destroying everything in sight. Mech armies marching, a spiral king sitting atop his throne on what looks to be a desolate world, with the tornado swirling around as a giant monster face stares piercing through it. And this is just the opening 3 minutes. This legendary cinematic experience showed me that there was a world of anime I had never explored. It was magical. Stakes had never been higher for something that I didn't even understand at the time. We put down our cards, slowly, at first to see the spectacle, and then, when the visuals slowed down, we picked them up again, assuming that those first 3 minutes were an empty promise to set the stage for a film that blew its budget in the first few seconds so that you could have your full attention locked onto something subpar. Clickbait. We thought it was clickbait. So it returned to background noise. But very quickly, we were introduced to Kamina, Simon, Yoko, and the army of beastmen, half-animal, half-human hybrids that had taken over the surface world, pushing humanity into the subterranean underground that they were forced to live in, reverting to primitive lifestyles. Seeing these characters come up and face the surface world, to see the technologies that they have never known in their lifetime, except Kamina, whose father took him above only once in childhood to inspire him to strive higher than the subterranean, to pierce beyond the surface world, to pierce the heavens with his dreams. A warrior that everyone in the village underground saw as nothing but a fool for even considering leaving his home. But that didn't stop Kamina, the son of a fool and therefore a fool himself in the village's eyes, from believing in himself and in his father's dreams. Even though his father never returned, Kamina believed in his heart of hearts that he would reach the heights that his father did, and he imbued that within his friend Simone, the co-pilot of the two-part mech they found known as GURREN and Lagann. Simone, a child, scared to move forward due to his parents being crushed by rocks in a cave, is horrified to see himself ever leaving the underground city. It's safe, it's what he knows, he's comfortable, but now he's given confidence by his friend Kamina. Kamina, knowing Simone doesn't have the resolve yet to believe in himself, tells him the words that ring in my heart.
Don't believe in yourself, believe in me! Believe in the Kamina who believes in you!
Believe in the me that believes in you. Those words echo unimaginable strength. They take the pressure off of Simone, a child crippled by fear and trauma, and instead let Kamina shoulder the weight of anxiety for just a little while so that Simone can build up his own resolve. This is what the power of friendship in anime really looks like. It's not about lending Goku your energy to build up enough strength to finish off a foe. It's about being the pillar that your friends need to help them build their confidence, and for them to do the same for you with no expectation of anything in return, except wanting them to achieve their goals, to follow their dreams, and to achieve their desires without needing to be shackled by fear or anxiety or hurt or trauma. Gurren Lagann is about two men, brothers, not by blood, but by their bond of friendship and weaving dreams. One who motivates the other, and in some way, vice versa. It's a double helix, spiraling and weaving, building atop itself so as to move forward. That's how a drill works. And that's their drill, one that becomes stronger the more and more they add to their crew of friends and allies, which not only pierces the surface, pierces the heavens, but creates their own heaven. Is their heaven perfect? Hell no. Is there work to be done to reach that goal? Hell yeah! And who's going to shoulder that burden until the world is strong enough to do it on their own? We are! Who the hell do you think we are? We are Team GURREN! And then... the movie does something. It shatters your conviction. It shows you that a dream is strong, but that the world will break you down and take what you love anyway if you're not careful, and that even if you fight with everything you've got, just like the real world, because this is their real world, you can lose everything. Your purpose, your hope, your light in the darkness, guiding you through the pain and misery and trauma you originally thought that you had left behind and gotten over. It rips away from you the things that you hold dear. The characters ache, but it's real. The characters mourn and grieve their loss at the end of a battle in a way that feels real. More real than any live-action movie that I have ever seen. And the best and worst part about it, it lets us and the characters sit with that pain. We feel it. A pep talk alone doesn't solve things. Even trying to ignore it and taking action doesn't solve things. These feelings make the characters fight sloppy because in the back of their heads, they know that these feelings of suffering and pain and loss are eating at them, and they all heal at different points. Some faster than others, some never fully at all. But the important thing is that when they finally find a new resolve to protect, they vow that they will not let another loss take them. And whether they suffer another defeat, and they do, whether they have to deal with the pain of loss and let that take them over again, and it will, they vow at the very least that they will push through, pierce through, drill through. They can't control the losses that they face, but what they can control is themselves in that moment and accept the fact that stopping at those losses would come short of achieving their dreams. Is it hard to move past that kind of pain? Hell yeah! Is it impossible to overcome that grief? Hell no! Are you going to let that defeat define you for the rest of your life and limit yourself? Hell no! Just who the hell do you think we are? That is the beauty of Gurren Lagann's films. It keeps the prime story beats that the series had. It expands on those thoughts and philosophies while removing all of the excess. It doesn't have time for filler. God knows that the team working on it did everything that they could to condense the 27-episode series into the time span of basically 9. And they still couldn't help themselves from adding even more exclusive footage to the movies, not seen in the series, which I truly think is why the films are a superior watch to the anime. I think the most important thing for me is that Gurren mastered masterfully operates on one of my favorite styles of filmmaking and storytelling: the rule of cool. Let me try and explain things simply. In writing, such as in all things, there are literary proven methods or laws or structures, guidelines, but I'm going to refer to them as rules. These rules help guide storytellers. They are proven techniques which, when done right, provide well-executed and well-structured plot, story, characters, and motifs. For an example of a rule, let's look at Chekhov's gun. This is a basic one. It's one that everyone who's ever studied film or writing knows about. If you're going to have a story element that's going to appear in the final act of something, for example, a gun that a character uses to take out a bad guy, then establishing that element in an earlier part of the story is critical so that the reader or viewer does not feel like this was a cheap surprise which comes out of nowhere. For example, since this is a Yu-Gi-Oh channel, let's talk about the first duel we ever see with Stakes, which is the difficult match against Seto Kaiba that by all accounts should win the duel. He's got the upper hand against Yugi, and it just feels like the ball is in his court. That is, until Yugi draws what he feels is a useless card, an arm, a leg. They serve no strategy to winning until we get a flashback of Yugi's grandpa explaining the almighty power of Exodia and the fact that it has never been done, but that it is considered a holy miracle in the game of Duel Monsters. This is Chekhov's gun. Yugi then draws and achieves the win condition for assembling all 5 pieces of Exodia in his hand, defeating Kaiba instantly with its ability. Without the flashback sequence setting up that getting all 5 parts of Exodia is an immediate win condition, it would basically feel like this victory for Yugi came out of nowhere. But by setting up the stakes and then seeing Yugi struggle step by step to get the Exodia pieces needed to attain victory, it makes the moment of his finally achieving that goal that much more impactful from a storytelling perspective. It makes the victory feel earned rather than spontaneous. The rule of cool is technically an unofficial literary tool. TV Tropes defines it as the limit of willing suspension of disbelief for a given element which is directly proportional to its awesomeness. In my own words, I would say that the rule of cool is when something is so badass that the badassness of it distracts from how illogical, nonsensical, or goofy it may be under less badass circumstances. Is it logical that if you shove a small robot through the top of a bigger robot just by stabbing it through to make it the head of that bigger robot, that it will magically combine and turn into a super robot because of willpower? Hell no! Is it badass when it actually works even though it seems stupid as hell? Hell yes! How about this sword? Look at how ridiculous the length of this sword goes for this one shot, and it makes you start to laugh and then freak out and then go, what is happening? And it starts becoming so ridiculous that it loops back into being badass. Is it stupid as hell? Hell yes! And why is that? Because we're Team GURREN! Hell, Gurren Lagann is a specific name listed in the Rule of Cool TV Tropes page for just how much crazy stuff happens in that series on a regular basis. But I implore you, please go out and see this movie while it is still in theaters before you look at this list. I didn't stutter. They are in theaters right now. Gurren Lagann is one of those Oppenheimer-type films. The ones that you have to see on the big screen just to appreciate the scope of it, just to feel the weight of every moment. Right now, the movies are set to be shown in sub, and now, for the first time ever, in dub, using the original English voice cast, which up until this year had only dubbed the anime series, not the films, that I truly think are really critical to getting the full Gurren Lagann viewing experience. The films have more action and sequences that are different, and in my opinion, better written than those in the series. And so, it's a critical time to watch this movie. I promise you that what I've talked about in this video contains literally less than 10% of the 2 films combined, and I am underselling a lot of these key moments just to avoid spoilers. You need to go watch this movie. I beg of you. I implore you to take the people that you love the most in your life, that care about you and care about anime, and even those that don't and just want to see a great story, and take them to watch these 2 films. More than I've ever implored someone to watch anything that I've ever created. Please watch these 2 movies the way they were intended to be seen. I'm not being sponsored for this. There's no affiliate links or any way for me to make any kind of money from this video outside of AdSense. But this is very personal for me. See, when I was in college, I showed the subbed versions of these films to my entire hall of dorm mates. These were creatives from all over, wanting to become filmmakers, writers, digital and traditional artists, musicians and graphic designers, actors of film and theater, all dreams of achieving something special to them. Some for financial gain, some for passion, some for family lineage. To me, it was all of them. It was all special. Is special. And I would sit down in our hall's lounge, and I would show these dorm mates in the lounge of LaSalle Hall, in that now closed down New Mexico University, the beauty of Gurren Lagann. And every time, 18 times in one semester, I watched as it captivated the hearts of another person. I cheered with those new viewers, I cried with them, and these 18 to 19-year-old strangers, all lost and confused, just like my 18-year-old self was at the time, all of them at different levels of confidence and at different levels of skill, and with different goals in mind, sat seeing that Kamina was there to believe in them the way that Simon needed him, and that we, by watching these two movies back to back, had gone from feeling lost and confused like Simon into feeling like we had a Kamina in each other. That was a special time. Daniel, Dylan, Sakif, Caleb, Josh, DeAndre, Justin, and Jack, and so many more. I love them all so dearly because they were willing to trust their time to a chubby, scrappy, unfocused little nerd of a dude who showed them something special that he had truly fallen in love with. I remember there was a movie theater at that school called The Screen. It was a place where, after business hours to the public, students would be able to play movies on a projector of all types to show for clubs, or to show off their own personal projects that they had been working on, to get critiques, to study films together, and most importantly, to unwind from a stressful week in college. My college dream was to plan a day where all of the people that I'd shown Gurren Lagann to would have the chance to watch it on the big screen, a way to enjoy it and see it the way that it was meant to be seen. But that time never came. Technical issues, my lack of confidence in operating the projector when I was working at the screen, different schedules, it never lined up. And so, 4 years of college came, and 4 years went, and it was a dream that never came true to me. My own small little defeat. But now, on its 15th anniversary of birth, the films are screening through Fathom Events. I'm leaving a link in the description and in the pinned comments so that you can get your tickets. There's a subbed and dubbed version of the two movies. The first movie, Childhood's End, playing only January 16th and 17th, and the second movie, The Light in the Sky and Stars, showing the week after that, January the 23rd and 24th. Don't be tricked, this isn't a weekend, these are Tuesday and a Wednesday at 7 p.m. There's no telling if this will ever happen again, even on the 20th anniversary, especially in the United States. So I implore you, please, for all of those needing motivation in their lives, for all of those who have ever lost someone or something or a dream and are fighting to heal, for all of those who have dreamed and desires they have put aside for just a moment and feel like they haven't been able to achieve anything just yet and need something to inspire you, please, please, please watch these movies. They will motivate you, even for just a moment, to push beyond your limits, to face your fears and create the heaven of your dreams, not simply by wishing it, but by working for it, sacrificing for it, and going further beyond and stepping outside of yourself to reach those goals. Motivation is fleeting, but sometimes you need just that quick spark in your life to make that change that will push through doubt and pursue your goals at a consistent rate. That's when habits can form. So try to make time to see these two movies. Please, please.
Just who the hell do you think we are?
Closing this video, I'd like to say as a Yu-Gi-Oh player, and as a filmmaker, and as a storyteller, that Gurren Lagann has inspired me in several different ways. I was always a fan of Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds, so the synchro summoning mechanic and dueling style was one that I had always loved, even back in the day. I remember that I had played this deck. It was themed after Yusei's deck in the series, and it was known as Junk Doppel Quasar. Basically, it was just summoning out Yusei's favorite monsters and his strongest monsters, which just happened to also be competitively viable at the time. This included a focus on playing a very special guy. Drill Warrior. He is one of my all-time favorite synchro monsters, and his effects were great for several reasons. I even remember staying up late one time in high school and getting an X-Acto knife and scraping away the artwork so that I could paint Gurren Lagann on top of him with acrylic paints. I don't think I have that card anymore, but it was a really special card. Funny enough, when I played Cardfight Vanguard competitively, which was probably my favorite time playing any trading card game at all, my all-time favorite deck became the Thunder Dragons, known as the Narukami. Sorry, Spike Brothers. They were just a really strong style of play, which dealt with removing my opponent's cards from the field. That's exiling or sending cards to the Lost Zone for all of my Magic the Gathering and Pokemon buddies. But it was focused on this boss monster, my all-time favorite Vanguard card. Sorry, Spike Brothers. Detonix Drill Dragon. Definitely card fight vanguards. Can I copy your homework? Yeah, just change it enough so that it looks different. Approach to the card artwork when looking side by side at Drill Warrior. It was a special deck. It's the deck that I took to PPG Nationals, where I got 10th place. I definitely misplayed and could have gotten higher, but hey, we take those. One of my favorite non-extra deck focused archetypes in Yu-Gi-Oh! Has soft connections to that of the Gurren Lagann Subterranean, actually called Subterrors. They are amazing. They're a flip-based deck that unfortunately a lot of people have dwindled down to about 5 or 6 cards of playable use when building for competitive play. But their flip mechanics are so fun, and they truly are awesome. I mean, look at the field spell Hidden City, the in-archetype world that the Subterrors live within, and tell me that it does not just take huge inspiration from Gurren Lagann. The green glow that this city gives off is an absolute dead giveaway. For all of you Jujutsu Kaisen fans out there, there's even an episode with a fight scene that is a direct dedication and love letter to a critical fight in Gurren, but you won't know until you watch both films. Trust me, once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. But Konami, Bushiroad, and Studio Madhouse are not the only ones who took direct inspiration from Gurren Lagann. You see, as someone who wanted to give my live-action protagonist for my fan series Yu-Gi-Oh! Card Heroes Crimson a personal deck that would fit his identity, independent of the real-world cards and cards used by other anime protagonists like the Elemental Heroes, I created my own archetype for him. And although common writers take up a lot of design philosophy for the cards, they are also very heavily inspired by Gurren Lagann. They are known as the Visor Knights after all, and between the sunglasses, the goggles, and the star visors you see in this anime, I absolutely am trying to flatter you, Gurren, because you are my inspiration. I hope to one day inspire people the way that Gurren inspired me. That's a long time coming, and I wish that it was already here. As an actor, a writer, an editor, as a person, I want to be strong like Kamina. I want to be able to go beyond my limits like Simon.
And I want all of you who have a dream or a goal or a passion or something that you have put down for just some time to watch this film and get inspired by it, to let it motivate you and fuel you. Because although motivation is fleeting, sometimes all you need is a spark of inspiration to push you into creating habits and changing your life for the better. I know that we all have dreams that we want to achieve, some more possible than others through technical means, some absolutely insane. But as long as you're not hurting anyone, I want you to reach those goals. I want you to believe in yourself. And if you can't do that, then that's okay. But if that's the case, then I want you to believe in me, please. Believe in the me that believes in you, and I think you'll be just okay.
So, go get your tickets, and let me know what you think about the movie in the comments below. This is a really special one. If you've seen the movies already, go see them again. And when you do see them, whether the first time or the 20th time, I want to know what you feel about this movie, how it inspires you. If you have bonds connected through it, I really want to know what you guys feel about this. I'll be waiting, and thanks for watching both this video and the Gurren Lagann films. Until next time, it's your move.